Good evening, Lincoln, and welcome to another episode of the J Train right here on KZUM 89.3 on your FM dial and around the world at kzum.org. Joining me in the studio tonight is Gene Davis. He is a member of the local jazz quartet, Swing Fever, and they will be playing at the upcoming Jazz in June on June the 9th, which is the second week of the 5-part series. We're lucky this year in that we have 5 Tuesdays in the month of June. And Gene's joining me, like I said, in the studio. So, Gene, welcome to KZUM.
Glad to be here, Jesse.
It's great to have you here. I wanted to, start with a broad question. If you could give the listeners a little bit of background about Swing Fever. When did you guys form? Where do you usually play? The band members, those kinds of things?
Okay. Well, let's start with the band members. Starts with Jerry Renaud, guitar and vocals, Panche Zayev on saxophone and clarinet, Eric Toombs on drums, and myself, Gene Davis, on bass and vocals. We got together, we had played in various organizations and known each other for a couple of years. We got together actually as this organization about 3 years ago, and really we all had a feeling for this type of music that we use in Swing Fever. Predominantly it's a combination. Some is instrumental jazz, some Thelonious Monk, some Miles Davis, some Charlie Parker, but also some, because we have vocalists, we're also interested in standards, American jazz and vocal standards. And we all had kind of a feel for that kind of music. So having the vocalist and the horn player, it was just natural to gravitate towards that. And we've been performing for, 3 years. We play in other bands as well, but I think this is all kind of our favorite one. Don't tell anybody. And we play, especially in summer, we play the wineries. We played the Zoo Bar. We played some of the other clubs around town. We played some of the local festivals like the Haymarket Farmers Market and private functions, that type of thing.
Is that because your compensation at the winery is like a take-home bottle?
Well, that's part of it. There's some small remuneration involved, but
Okay.
But it is but those venues really kind of lend themselves towards that music.
Mm-hmm. They do.
It's kind of, even in a city like Lincoln, it's kind of niche music in that it's not classic rock that people are dancing and drinking to, or country that people are doing line dances to. It's a different kind of market. But we have such a great feeling for it that I think it really is our kind of our favorite music to play.
And Gene, just I'm curious personally about your background. Obviously a jazz fan, but what's your musical pedigree coming into this?
I don't know if I call it a pedigree, more like I'm more of a mutt, I guess.
Okay, okay, all right.
I began with as a lot of players do, playing in rock cover bands and country cover bands, and similar types of band too. I do some work as a single. Jerry Renaud, the guitar player in Swing Fever, and I do some work as a duo as well. But just a lot of different types of things. My background was just playing in clubs, and had always been a fan of jazz and standards, but really I'd never gotten a chance to play that type of music until about 10 years ago. And yes, I don't know if I call it a pedigree, but you just find your way through all that, and really, whatever music you start out playing, it leads on to other things. And particularly if you're a vocalist or a singer, you eventually have to come to grips with some of the standards and some of the great singers, and you not only learn from them, but you kind of learn why they gravitated towards some of the tunes that they do. Mm-hmm. And it's all a journey. It's really, it's one continuum.
Panche is from Macedonia.
Yes.
How did you guys meet?
A keyboard player that Jerry and I both used to work with also worked with Panche. And so we kind of got together, like 3 or 4 years ago was the first time we'd actually met. Mm-hmm. Panche is he's an instructor here in town. He's also doing his PhD work at UNL in clarinet, and his thesis is on some Macedonian music, I think. But So we got together with him, and he's a classically trained. He was eventually starting to become like a member of an orchestra, playing his clarinet, but he also had an interest in jazz, and is a natural improviser. And so it was just, when we first got together, it really was the magical type of thing where all the personalities and all the musical styles just all seemed to match up almost immediately. And yes, Panche is just wonderful to play behind. As a bass player, I'm mostly performing the, making the frame for the picture. And when Panche's painting the picture, it's really magical.
He caught a fever.
Yes.
That's what brought him into the music.
Yes.
That's cool. Let's talk a little bit about Jazz in June, Gene. This is the first time that you guys will be appearing
Yes.
on the stage. It's a wonderful venue, and I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about how you'll bring the New Orleans flavor into the music next week.
The basis for the Jazz in June is there for this year is the New Orleans style.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little afield from what we're doing, but what we are doing is we spent some time. We are adding a number of that type of material to our playlist, and also adapting some of the tunes that we were already playing to more of a New Orleans style. Some of the jazz standards and some of the swing that we did adapted itself to that style. But having Panche, the excellent clarinetist that he is, that made a lot of that early music from New Orleans very natural for us to play. And some of the early blues and early singers also, of course, was a gold mine for the vocalists. And so we've managed to incorporate a number of the New Orleans tunes and that style of music into our normal list. So our show will be kind of a mix of the two. And we'll also be, as we were learning this stuff, we also thought we were also learning, some of the backstory of some of the songs as well. So we'll hopefully be able to give people a little bit of that as well, gives them some of the backstory of the music that we're going to be playing, so that not only hope that they'll enjoy the music, but that we'll be able to educate them just a little bit about the backstory, about some of the songs.
If you're just joining us here on the J Train, we're talking with Gene Davis. He's the bassist of Swing Fever, and they're going to be performing at the 24th Annual Jazz in June in downtown Lincoln behind the Sheldon Art Gallery at 12th and R on Tuesday, June 9th. That's from 7 to 9 p.m. There are activities that go on before then, including garden tours and food market.
Yes.
So the music is the centerpiece, but there's a lot that's built around that. For people who like Swing Fever and want to see more of you guys, then where do they go?
Okay, well, the wineries are one. As I said, the Zoo Bar, venues that cater to a kind of a wider variety of music. The Wilderness Ridge restaurant here in town features some jazz as well. There's some clubs around actually the Omaha area that actually feature some jazz as well. But a lot of it is, some special events and some festival types of things. And that's, I think, what we're going to try to maybe focus on more in the coming years, especially in the summer season, because there's Jazz in June in Lincoln, but there are a number of other types of those festival types of events here in the surrounding, say, 300 or 400 mile area. And I think our music is going to fit best if we can get into playing some of those types of venues. But as far as seeing us around town, you can see we play some of the venues, some of the wineries and things, summer and winter. But look for us at the zoo. Look for us at some of the little festivals around town as well.
That's great.
And you can check out, of course, the Swing Fever Facebook page that we keep updated with all our appearance material and everything. So I appreciate people to maybe look into that.
And is that just /Swing Fever? Is there any special numbers?
/Swing dash Fever.
Got it.
I think Swing Fever Lincoln should get you there. And as far as I said, it's kind of niche music in that it's not what maybe a lot of people may are going to go want to hear if they're going to go out and party hard late into the night. But it's a bit more. There's a little bit more maybe maybe an intellectual content to it, more of a listening experience, more of a sit back and consider experience. But if you like to dance and it is danceable.
I went down there on Tuesday night, and I was shocked that there weren't more people dancing. Because the band that played on Tuesday night played a really danceable set.
Yes.
So people dance in their chairs at Jazz in June. I've noticed that.
We're hoping to have some area down front where people will get up and dance, because we will be doing some New Orleans stuff. We're going to be doing some music by the Meters and by the Neville Brothers. And boy, if you can't dance to that, if that doesn't want to make you get out of your chair, wow.
Yeah, you got some problems.
Absolutely. So when you do come down on Tuesday night, just be prepared to, to swing and sway. But when we start kicking into the Meters of the Neville Brothers, you'll want to dance for sure.
Oh, that's great. We're going to give people the chance now to listen to several tracks from Swing Fever that Gene and the band were kind enough to let us play over the airwaves, so you can get a musical taste, and hope that you'll come back 24 hours later and see them actually live at Jazz in June. Once again, that is Tuesday the 9th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Sheldon at 12th and R Streets. Gene, thank you so much for taking some time to come down here and talk about Swing Fever and Jazz in June.
Thanks very much. I would like to, just before I go, tell people what a great local festival Jazz in June is, and encourage people to support it, because it really is just one of the most fun things to do here in the early summer in Lincoln, Nebraska. And especially with some of the people we've got coming on later on in June and everything, it really is one of the best festival settings here in the Midwest down in the Sheldon Art Gallery. So we'd encourage people to support Jazz in June and make this something they want to do all during the month of June.
Amen. Thanks, Gene.
All right, thank you, Jesse.
You ever plan to motor west? Take my way, that's the highway, that's the best. Get your kicks on Route 66. Well, it winds from Chicago